So it's been announced that Hughie Fury will fight Dominic Guinn in place of Nagy Aguilera, who, as we know, pulled out of their scheduled heavyweight contest this weekend, which was on the undercard of Eubank versus Blackwell. I'm pleased that Hughie is back in the fight against a semi-recognised opponent in Dominic Guinn. As I mentioned, or I'm not sure which order I'll upload them in, but as I'm going to mention, I've chosen to watch the Eubank bill ahead of the Kell Brook versus Bizier bill. So I'm pleased to see that there's going to be a decent co-main event type fight in the form of Hughie versus Dominic Guinn. Dominic Guinn, I think he's 41 years old. He's got 10 losses on his record, but he's mixed it with some real decent competition. I think Pulev, Mansour, Adamek, Eddie Chambers, James Toney, those are some of the guys who've beaten him. He once upset Audley Harrison and actually scored a win against Audley, which is what British fans must remember him most for. I believe he was actually scheduled to fight Dillian Whyte before obtaining some sort of injury, and Dillian Whyte instead fought Brian Minto. But to be honest, given the short notice at play here, we're working with 5-6 days notice. Guinn is a fairly decent opponent for Hughie. Usually when you're working with 5-6 days notice, you're expecting a Larry Olibamuwo or someone of that nature. So fair play to everyone involved for getting Dominic Guinn to come over and take the fight. Hughie Fury's fought a number of opponents like him, the sort of George Arias type opponents, guys who are semi-capable, very, very durable, don't get stopped. And at Hughie's sort of level, 21 years old, starting a career that looks good, banking those rounds and getting those rounds against an experienced veteran who knows his way around the ring is really, really valuable. So can't complain at all given the notice. One thing I would say is Gwynn's been extremely, extremely inactive. He had one fight last year, which he won by KO against the guy with a terrible losing record. Prior to that, I don't think he'd fought for a year or two. So, that is my one concern, is Guinn is being extremely, extremely inactive, taking this fight on very, very short notice, now into his 40s. Could it be that, despite the fact he's shown great heart and great skills in the past, never to have been stopped in the best part of 50 contests, could it be that now at this stage of his career he becomes easy meat and could be a 1 or 2 round job? Potentially if you factor in the age with the inactivity and combine that with Hughie's momentum, Hughie could get rid of him in a round or two. But I think given the experience Gwynn's got, it's going to be an interesting test nonetheless, and it's probably the best we could have hoped for given how little notice they've had to make this fight. Hughie, there's a lot of debate as to his punching power. Certain people believe he's a real big puncher. I rate him very highly. I'm not so convinced that he's a big puncher from some of the fights, and I wouldn't be surprised if Guinn once again is able to go the distance in a one-sided fight. I don't see him having anything to trouble Hughie with at this stage, but maybe some veteran tricks will help him go the distance. But no, I applaud them for putting up the money and for organising this fight at late notice. It's certainly a lot better than what I expected once I heard Nagy Aguilera pulled out. Let me know your thoughts on this fight. How do you see it going? Do you rate Dominic Guinn? Look forward to seeing it on Saturday night. Thanks for watching.